Wow, I've got a remarkable entrepreneur to work with you today to help you accelerate your success even more. See, the challenge that we all have, I know at least I have, and I'm pretty sure you have too, is we've got so many things going on. As we have more and more success, guess what? We attract more things. And this is a huge opportunity, but it's also really a big challenge. Our next guest has started 15 businesses, and he's been a high performance coach. He's helped all kinds of startups, fellow entrepreneurs. Had the good fortune to meet him at Genius Network, Joe Polish's mastermind group, and just some amazing insights that I wanted to share with you. So you want to stay tuned. I'm John Bowen. We're at AES Nation, all about accelerating your success.
Ordinary success? No way. You want amazing, remarkable, exceptional breakthroughs. Dig deep, think bold, drive hard, watch yourself soar beyond your dreams. AESNation.com.
Josh, I am so excited to have you with us today. You know, you have so much energy. I've started a lot of companies. I don't think I've started 15 though. First of all, welcome to AES Nation.
Oh, thanks, John. I appreciate it, and it's an honor to be on your show today.
Well, no, it's really exciting to have you. And Josh, what I'd love to do is, you have some great lessons that you were sharing with the mastermind group, and you and I've had a chance to talk about these. I wanted to make sure our fellow entrepreneurs, our business owners, they're out there, they're facing a lot of these challenges just as you have, and share those lessons. But I want to kind of a little bit of background of how did you get to where you are today? Because none of us get that straight line. It's a little wobbly at best.
Right. Oh, yeah. There's definitely wobbles along the way. But I mean, initially I first started out just when I was a kid and doing little things, selling, whether it was toys. I would go get, toys, and I would turn around and sell them to other kids at the school and everything. But along the way, I would consider my first real business when I was 14. I wanted to buy the Commodore Amiga computer. So it was like the real high-end, high-performance computer back in the day. And they're around $750, $800 range. And I had about 400-ish saved up from just my smaller little businesses. I thought, man, I got to figure out a way that I can buy this for less than $800. And I started thinking about, okay, well, other businesses out there, they got to pay less than what they're already paying and to make some money. And after checking things out, reading a little bit and investigating some more, I found out, well, okay, that you can buy it at wholesale and sell it at retail. And so I called the company. They sent me a vendor's license or a vendor application, and I got it in the mail, the snail mail, which took a while back in the day. And then my dad helped me go down and get a actual vendor's license from our local area. Filled it all out, sent it back. Long story short, is they approved me about 60 days later, and I was the first dealer in my area. And so I bought mine, and then other friends around me, they started checking out, like, hey, you got this. I'm like, well, I can get you a discount. You don't have to go buy it for retail. And so that's kind of how it all started. And then we started going to different little computer users groups around the local area, and then it branched out further. Then I would sell the floppy disks, the accessories, all different sorts of stuff that would go with it, and had that all through high school and everything, and ended up selling it to somebody who used to buy a lot of stuff from me, and he took it over and
well, yeah, it's funny, Josh, because we have a little similar background. I'm a little older than you, so there weren't PCs. I've grown up professionally in Silicon Valley, but I did it with stereo equipment. So I go, geez,
cool.
This is too expensive of stuff. Is there a way to get it cheaper? And got a couple of the distributors to treat me as a retail outlet, and did that in high school and college, and paid for an awful lot of things that way. And this is, this is, as entrepreneurs, we all have different ways that we kind of come into this. But, as you've been doing all these different businesses, and, we kind of keep on scaling up, and we're trying different models and going full cycle and so on. one of the things that you and I've talked about, and I want to go into this concept of focused energy.
Sure.
You and I think you're a little higher energy than me, but I'm pretty high energy. And the challenge, if that energy isn't focused, we can get ourselves into trouble pretty quickly. And how do you do that? I mean, because, everybody, particularly when you have multiple businesses, you got so much things going on, you spread yourself too thin and get yourself in trouble.
And that's correct. And one of the things, along the way is, having these different businesses. And I think over the last probably 2 years, I was trying to figure out what is that next big drive, what is that next big purpose for myself. And so lo and behold, I started multiple businesses to try to figure that out and running these along the way. But then I ran into that whole problem. Is like, okay, I thought I was super entrepreneur and I could spread myself all over the place and be able to make them all really work and blow them up really big. But the long story short of that is, even though my attention was, say, on 4 different businesses and they were each getting roughly 25%, I was even losing more productivity based on having to switch between those other businesses. So each one may have been getting only 15% of my focus and time. And so none of them were really actually growing significantly or even okay. And so one of the things I had to do was, okay, how can I best serve the one that I care about most, or the one that is doing or creating what I want to have created at the time? And so for me, I ended up having to park all of these different businesses. And a good friend of mine told me at one point is, if it's a great business now, it'll be a great business in 6 months. Unless it's an Uber, then you might as well just go with that one. And so I ended up parking all the other businesses and putting my time and attention on a health and wellness skincare business that where we make, manufacture, and sell products all over the world. And by doing that, that's allowed me to really focus and ramp up and scale up our BizDev JV affiliate side of things of that business.
Yeah, Josh, I think this is so important. I mean, I've fallen prey to it, and I'm pretty sure every entrepreneur, has done this. For our listeners and viewers, I mean, if you haven't done that, then you're not out there trying. But and one of the key things I've always found is the market's really good about telling you. I mean, as you said,
Sure.
you want to have that passion in the ones that you feel most strongly about. But I always like the concept of the largest check, that whoever is writing the largest check, the market is telling us and that's one of the best resources. And early on as an entrepreneur, setting up a bunch of things is fine to get a little feedback from the market. But Josh, just as you have done, in your skincare health business now, I mean, that's the one that's both the market has told you that, hey, over here, pay some attention, and
Right.
You guys enjoy it, and you're making a big difference. And how do you keep? Because I mean, many entrepreneurs have ADD, and we get this. Okay, this is really working well. Let's go over and just that one we parked. Let's just get it pushed a little forward. How do you keep from doing that?
Sure, and we all have that. It's that entrepreneur shiny object syndrome, and I want to have this too, and I want to do this too, and so for me, what I've started doing is I start putting it all down. I just have a notebook, and I just fill it, and I put my ideas in there. Mm-hmm. And because I come up with them on a daily basis, and I see something like, oh, well, I can do that better. I'd like to do it like this, or this would make a great company. And so I just put it down, and by putting it down, then it gets it out of my brain, and then I'm able to keep focused on what I need to stay focused on. And then I can go back and flip through that at a later point when I know, hey, okay, time's coming up. I'm ready to move on to that next thing because I got things stabilized here, and I trained somebody up to take over my spot, and so just having it in there and putting it in the notebook kind of clears it out of my mind. Yeah. And allows me then to stay focused on the current.
Well, and I do really close to the same thing. A lot of, the event we were together at, everybody's got journals. I'm and I use probably one of the older guys in there. I turned 60 last year, and I'm using the technology. I'm a little worried about it. I love having, I write on a computer. I'm using what is it, the Microsoft Surface Book product.
Okay.
But I use OneNote to do it. Some people use Evernote. But, getting it out of your mind, I don't care whether you use technology, you use a journal, getting it in a place, not only is it out of your mind, but you can go back to that. I mean, I find just so much power in just reviewing these things and having established times to go back, because there are some really good ideas that, hey, let them process and germinate, and wow. But you know what I want to go to? You do a really good job of making your day efficient. And this is a challenge, every business owner has, is how do we make our day, that really productive with everything going on, the noise and so on. What are some of the insights, and particularly because you're doing all this high performance coaching, and then you kind of redirected, now you're focusing on your businesses as well.
Yeah, definitely, and that's a great question, because the cool thing for me is I actually learned it when I was 14 years old, and I happened to read Tony Robbins' Unlimited Power, Awaken the Giant, and grabbed that concept of chunking or breaking my days up. And so I've always applied it over the years and just whatever I do. And so for me, the first thing in the morning, and this is something I used to train a lot when I was doing high performance coaching and business consulting, is so many of us, and I was that person too, is when we first get up, we're checking our email, we're checking our social media, we're checking all that. And it just kind of becomes natural with technology, think, oh, I'm going to get it all done in the morning. But one of the things that they've proven by doing that, you actually reduce your day's productivity by at least 30%. And why that is because we put ourselves in a reactive state instead of an active state or a offensive state. And now we're being defensive. We're responding. Oh, this email, I got to get back to this one. Or I got to get this. Or somebody posted something on Facebook, and I need to reply to this. And just all of a sudden, you lose multitude of time. Or especially first thing when you get in the office, a lot of people check their email or check their social media.
So how do we flip it around? The defensive, because everyone has, if they're not doing it now, it's a small percentage, but almost everyone. The temptation, the technology is ever present. We've got it in our pocket. We got tablets. We got computer screens. And there's a lot going on. Most of us have tons of emails coming at us. On occasion, there's something worthwhile. Social media is really entertaining and all that, and some business stuff. How do we, this flow of information is just huge, and it's tempting. It's a little sexy on occasion.
Well, the cool thing for me is I know everybody talks about like zero inbox and all that, but a lot of people, it's because they're always checking their email throughout the day, they can get to that, or maybe they don't. But for me, what I do is I break up. So the first thing, right after I get up and get rehydrated, I actually have a one-page productivity sheet that I utilize. And so it's my top 3 things that I need to accomplish today, or one big project, and then 2 kind of supporting pieces of that. And then it's who do I need to contact today to make and move this project forward, and then who do I need to follow up with that I haven't heard back from. And then at the bottom, there's 3 big wins. So whatever which I pulled from Dan Sullivan, is what are my 3 big wins for the day. And I fill it out in the morning. At the end of the day, then I fill in what my big wins are. And by doing that, that allows me to get focused on what the tasks at hand are and who I need to contact. And then I actually have a set time a couple times throughout my day where I give myself roughly about 45-50 minutes. And I check my email, social media, and that sort of thing, and I knock it all out. But then I have a timer that goes off and then notifies me, hey, you're done, move back onto that project, and it keeps me focused and moving forward with everything.
Yeah, it's funny. I do something very similar. I do Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach. I'm big on the 3 wins. That works really well. And then, I don't know, have you seen Amazon's Echo or Alexa yet?
I've seen it, yeah. I haven't ever.
Yeah, so I bought them, and I got them in different places in the house and all that. And so I'll yell, Alexa, can't say it too loud or it'll go off. And set the timer. And I found that just to be really effective. I used to have a little timer on my desk, but this way, that chunking, I want to encourage everybody to do this, because this was something I didn't do early in my career. You're kind of just running real hard. There wasn't the email and everything else. So the pile of papers I had, and then all those phone appointment or messages, it's changed. And now we've got, I think on an average day, I get over 500 emails, not counting junk and all that. And
Right.
you can have filters. I love SaneBox for doing that. And then, so only the important emails come through, which is for me only about 30 or so. So, I mean, it's a whole different thing. I think 30 out of 500.
Yeah.
And you can have other people deal with it, or you can deal with it later. But it's being organized. I always call it being successful on purpose, and you're doing a great job of it, Josh. And one of the things I want to go, and you mentioned this, and you said, geez, John, one of the first things I do as I get started, I'm taking care of my health, because I want, you're kind of a corporate athlete or an entrepreneurial athlete where, we've got to train, we've got to have that energy and so on. You're starting the day hydrating. What are some of the health lessons you've learned to keep yourself in that peak performance?
For me, I've fortunate to utilize it almost over since I was 14. I had a gap where I didn't do it for a while, and I noticed a huge difference. But for me, it's it's working out, and that can be for whatever it is for you. Some people love to run, some people want to do CrossFit, yoga, whatever that is. But find something, and it doesn't matter if you take 7 minutes or it takes you 30 minutes to do it. Whatever that is, figure out a way and implement it in what you do. And if you can do it first thing in the morning, do it first thing in the morning. If you can't, do it mid-afternoon. And just find the time and make the time to do it, because if you're working, as entrepreneurs, we're grinding, we're hustling, and we're really pushing to move our businesses forward. And then if we have families, we're trying to take care of our families and make sure everything's balanced there as best as possible, or integrated, I like to say, instead of balanced.
I'm more on harmony, because you and I both know nothing's totally balanced at the time.
So I like to go with integrated. Everybody else uses the word balanced and stuff, but integrated is much better. And so you gotta stay in peak health, and that's taking care of yourself through, like I said, fitness, exercise, yoga, whatever that is. And whether it's massages, I try to get a massage at least once a week or once every other week, based on my travel schedule. And I think that's important, because it helps you rejuvenate, it helps your mind refocus, it increases productivity, and it increases your output. And so that's one of the big pieces for me that's really kept me moving forward day in and day out.
Yeah, Josh, this is one of the things that I've always been a little bit of a jogger, and do a little exercise, inconsistent. Did enough because I love certain sports and to be good at it. For skiing, if you're not doing any exercise at all, it's pretty painful that first day if you're an aggressive skier and so on. And the mind will do it, but the body won't, or it won't do it the second day, I guess. But what I've found, and this is, it's a little bit the chunking. I mean, I would be the first guy, if there was a pill you could take and you didn't have to ever do exercise again, I would be there. I would pay a lot of money for that. So if anybody has that, let me know. But in the meantime, one of the things I've really found, and you mentioned it, is just, you can be very effective. I have to chunk it. I have to schedule it. I've got a trainer coming over twice a week. I get a massage once a week. I go ahead and I use a 7-minute app. There's no excuse for you not doing that. I've got the 7 minutes. It's kind of hard not to say, okay, I can't fit 7 minutes. You got 168 hours a week. All of us have, 7 minutes a day. It's not too big. And I use an Apple Watch, whatever fitness. I want to make sure at a minimum certain calories, active minutes, and obviously steps and so on. And I got to tell you, Josh, it's, I'm planning on, I love business. I love being an entrepreneur. I feel like I got to make that investment so that I can continue to play for an awful long time. Right. And particularly with the breakthroughs in health that are going on in human longevity, we better take care of these bodies. They may be around for a long time.
For sure. Yeah, if you spent time with Peter Diamandis, you know that's what they're working on.
Yeah, matter of fact, I'm having him come in 2 weeks speaking on human longevity at my mastermind group. And then also, my wife and I went down about 5 weeks ago and did their health nucleus, the full day of everything. And we just got the preliminary part. But I mean, I spent 2 hours in an MRI machine. So it's a whole body MRI. They do everything, and it's a great baseline and some insights. And yeah, they will all. None of us are perfect, and they'll find some imperfections and some things for you to work on. But it's just really the opportunity. And let me go from there, because it's something you feel strongly about, and it's technology. I mean, you and I, we got these big mics by us. We're talking over Skype.
Right.
It's just technology is a big part of what we both do as a facilitator. But you talk about letting technology go and becoming even more productive in life. How do you balance, or a harmony or integrate technology, whatever word we use, to be effective in it, but not let it take you over?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, for me, I'm on my, iPhone a ton. It's so it's not like I just eliminate technology. I love technology, so I'll be the first to, say that. But one of the biggest things is for me is, when when I go out to dinner, especially when I spend time with the family and things like that. I mean, I set it away. I don't utilize it, and because I know I have set times that I schedule stuff in to get it done and make things happen. And whether it's out, after the kids go to bed and my wife's doing some things, then I spend 2 or 3 hours working on the business, responding to emails, connecting, and and getting those things done that I also need to get done that day. But I think as technology keeps evolving, one of the things is I think we need to be present in what we do. And, whether it's sitting down and having a business lunch or a business meeting, or, I've worked with consulting, and one of the CEOs used to come into his meeting all the time, and he would sit there and he'd be on his phone, and everybody else would be kind of running the meeting. But then he wants to know why that nobody really, follows his leadership, because he doesn't pay attention to him. And he's on his phone. So as soon as he eliminated that piece of it, it was a dramatic change in employee morale and connection, and being able to feel like they connect with the owner of the business. So,
well, I always love, I'm sure you've had the experience. You go out to lunch and you see the next table over, there's 4 business guys, and they're probably with ties on and everything, and so they're not entrepreneurs, but they each have their iPhone or Android or whatever device, and they're holding it and talking to somebody, and all 4 of them, I always wonder if they're talking to each other, and that's the only way they can do it. But boy, what, tremendous. I mean, I love technology as a facilitator. Sure. It's just, it is so phenomenal, the ability to, in today's world, have, like what you and I are having, a conversation together, and have, 10,000 of our friends, our business friends, join us.
right.
You couldn't do that a few years ago without bringing a satellite truck in, or you and I would have to be in some studio and so on. And now, it's such an enabling, but because it's so enabling, it's very easy. I'm always amazed the number of people who sleep with their phone on right next to their bed.
Right.
And, unless you're, on call and you're, I don't know, some type of surgeon that, could be called any moment, I don't know anybody that I would really want to reach and get that phone at that point in time.
No, I agree. I mean, when I go to bed, mine actually ends up going into airplane mode, because I use actually an app tracker for my bed, and I have a strap that goes across it, so it monitors all my breathing and heart rate and everything, and so it allows me to really dial in and make sure I'm getting the maximum, most efficient sleep, because sometimes I don't get a lot of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I can compress that quality of sleep into a shorter time span for myself, then I'm all for it.
Well, Josh, let's talk about that a little bit, because that's something that most people aren't doing. Yeah, I'm a big user of technology. I did try a couple of sleep things, and I found that it was interesting, but I wasn't able to really use the information. This is something that's helping you so that you can be more effective. I mean, everybody, hopefully you're getting a minimum of 5 hours as an entrepreneur, but ideally 6, 7, some feel 8, whatever the number is. We want to get it. I mean, this is important to all of us, is getting that high quality sleep. How are you using it to do that?
For sure. I look at the data. I try to look at the data on a lot of different things that I do, but especially with my sleep is, I look for, the certain deep sleep peaks and the things like that. And and then I go back and really look at, okay, where's my heart rate, my respiratory rate, and things like that. What did I eat the night before? What I consumed? What type of workout did I have the day? And look at all these different factors, and that's how I kind of figure out, okay, when I sleep, then if I'm getting 5.5, 6 hours of sleep, but I've also gone into, through all my REM states and everything else, I wake up and I feel totally refreshed and rested, then I know, cool, that was a good day, and I try to duplicate that. And then the days that I maybe only get 5.5 hours of sleep and I wake up and I'm just dragging for a little bit first thing in the morning, I look and say, okay, what did I do that I don't want to do again? And so it's really helped me start to work to dial in the level of efficiency.
The tools are just amazing. I don't know if you can see, we'll pull up my shirt here as a special, but I have Peter Diamandis's heart monitor underneath this for the full week, tracking all the, through 24 hours a day.
Awesome.
So, it's, there's so many tools, and it's interesting because even people, my wife is not big on technology, but has the smartphones and all the other things that we all have. And she's now monitoring and making adjustments in her life based on this. And boy, you can dial it in and it can be extremely effective.
For sure. And the technology's just, it's starting to get there, and there's a lot of different applications that are coming, in the shorter end of things, really quickly. So
yeah, I think this is one as business people, even if you're kind of like me, not like Josh, you're like me, where, if you didn't have to exercise, you would. And I have a trainer come over at 6:30 twice a week, a massage early in the morning, and then I have a morning routine. Miracle Morning, I'll recommend. Hal,
oh, sure. Hal's awesome.
Yeah, phenomenal. Did a podcast with him. Just a great guy. There's a real opportunity to create the structure. Going back to what Josh was talking about, is chunking all this stuff. So I want to have a great life. I want to be successful on purpose. The way to do that, I've found, and Josh, you've found, is the more you can structure. I even structure all my creative time. So I have blocks on my calendar to do that, because if I don't do it, life intrudes and it just fills in. And I schedule the family time, and it's less romantic than you want it to be, but it seems to work for me.
Yeah, and for me, it's all about quality.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can spend a quality 90 minutes and I'm just connected right there with my kids and enjoying that moment and everything, instead of 5 hours of not there 90% of it. So
yeah, the quality over quantity in everything we do in life, and certainly in the family, appreciates it a lot. Let me just do a segment on the next. I want to do a break to resources. And
sure.
Josh, I'm pulling up your website, and again, for those of you who are on listening to us on the audio podcast versus the video, you can always go to AES Nation and have all the links, a transcript of the complete interview, and some of the real action items that Josh and I are talking about. But Josh, tell us a little bit about your website and what's available, or resources. People are thinking, okay, I want to be like Josh. I want to have that high energy. I want to be really productive. What do you have there?
Sure. On the main page, I have a productivity cheat sheet that I talked about briefly, and it's just a free download, and you can download and start using it.
And Josh, I did download it. I have it in front of me, and
awesome.
I would encourage. It's one of these little simple hacks sometimes are some of the best ones that you can do, because you can get yourself organized, and every day being productive, boy, that builds upon itself.
Definitely. And we're actually in the process right now. We have some really cool updates coming to the website. I've been going back and forth the last few days with our web guys to get them up. So, but we have we'll have some different recommended products that I utilize for just on the nutrition side of things, and really keep me focused and dialed in day in and day out with that as well. We have some technology hacks for social media and things that are coming up there as well. So
this is great. Let me go. I want to just kind of summarize my key takeaways from this, because this is really invaluable. I mean, one of the things is, entrepreneur business owners, we're out there doing it. And and quite honestly, it's coming at us at a fast rate as you have more and more success. And Josh had some really good recommendations. I want to highlight 4 of them. The very first is going ahead in that focused energy and not trying to do all things. I mean, what is the marketplace telling you that's resonating with you as well, that you want to make that dent in the universe that Steve Jobs talks about? But the market is telling you, hey, this works. I found, when I do that, boy, it just takes off. And our business has been growing like crazy, because we usually start each year with 3 words that are going to summarize what we're going to do. And this is simple, elegant, and focused. So the more you can focus in those little levers in our business, in your business, it just can be amazing. Second thing was having efficient days. I don't know who got me started on this, but Josh has the methodology that he's doing. I'm doing something very similar. Don't care what tools you're using, but to really organize. And Dan Sullivan's strategic coach, you'll have 3 wins. I mean, if you have 3 wins every day and you're on this lifelong journey, you're going to have an amazing life. And that's what we want you to have. Health and nutrition. I can tell you, don't let yourself get run down. I did. I was traveling an awful lot, got walking pneumonia. And it's amazing. I found out how important breathing was. It's just kind of, when you stop breathing, it's bad. And so this is taking care of yourself. We all, you can abuse your body for so much, but you know what? We're in this for a lifelong journey, human longevity. If you can make it the next 10 to 15 years, you may be able to live, certainly to 100 with a high quality of life. And some people think much longer than that. And then technology. Use technology as a facilitator. I got tons of tools surrounding me here. Josh does too. You do as well. Use them selectively. Make sure the time in your business, your family, your friends, it's quality. Don't let that disrupt it. Josh, I want to thank you. I want to again remind everybody, I've got above me the AESnation.com. Go to the website. You can get the transcript. You can get the links to everything Josh and I talked about, and go out and execute on these. Become more productive. Your clients, your future clients, and your families are counting on you. Wish you the best of success.
Exceptional, remarkable breakthroughs. AESnation.com.